this is Vicki Gervicus. I am the Director of Public Policy and Grassroots Engagement at the Greater Gainesville Chamber, and I'm delighted to welcome Lou Welge today. Lou is a candidate, as you can see, for school board at Alachua County School Board, District 4. A reminder that everyone, all voters, will see all of the school board candidates on the ballot, not just in their district, so that's awesome. Lou's going to tell us a little bit about himself today, and we're going to get to know him better with some questions. Welcome, Lou. Good to see you.
Thank you, Vicki.
All right. You want to tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go right into the questions.
Yes, I'm a Florida native. I was born in Jacksonville, Florida at the old Naval Air Station in 1955. I'm an 18-year veteran guidance counselor. Did my beginning teacher in Bradford County up in Stark at Bradford Middle School. Then I did 3 years in Volusia County at the elementary level. And then my last 11 years were in the city of my birth, Jacksonville, Florida. The guidance counselor position is considered a plum position in public education, because it's neither fish nor fowl. It's not teachers who are, with classes and class schedules, and it's not administration, which is unfortunately, oftentimes too often firefighters putting out the fires of controversy and discipline problems. And I'm a graduate of the University of Florida, the counselor education program. Got my master's and my specialist degree on my mother's birthday, 12/17 of '83. And Dr. Bob Myrick, who was my mentor in the counselor education program, said that the counselor's role is to help people feel better about themselves and get along better with other people. What a great job description that is, right?
Absolutely.
And yet, too, we know that if you try and please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. So I'm so glad that the school board position is a nonpartisan position, because I'm an Abraham Lincoln reenactor. And when I speak, I say, you think we're divided now.
All right. Well, listen, you're running right into, coincidentally, because none of the candidates saw the questions ahead of time. They are getting them cold with our audience. But this is running right into our first question, which is, what particular skills and experiences will you bring to this office?
My people skills, my relationship skills. Back when I was young, you look maybe a little younger than me, Vicki. People used to say, well, we don't talk religion or politics. No, don't talk. And why? Because people's beliefs are so firmly entrenched from such an early age with our families of origin that even evidence, anecdotes, anything that is spoken or written that goes against those firmly held beliefs in politics or religion are a real turnoff. In fact, they cause what's called cognitive dissonance. It's a type of anxiety. Mm-hmm. And yet, if you define politics as most broadly as the art of the possible, then you're very conscious about not stepping on people's firm beliefs. Secondly, regarding religion, because I was a religious studies major for my bachelor's degree with an Asian emphasis from Randolph-Macon College in '77. In fact, when I entered the counselor education program, I went into the pastoral counseling program in that fall quarter of '78, and that was removed, pastoral counseling. And yet I consider myself religious, spiritual, and I go with the Bible, the New Testament. In fact, specifically 1 John 4:8, where it's written that God is love, period. And Vicki, that takes out the anthropomorphism, the personification that confuses so many people. So people skills and knowledge of relationships, knowledge of patterns of parenting. Parenting is as much art as it is science. Natural consequences and with firm and fair boundaries with parents and with teachers in the classroom. I use the three-legged stool metaphor: student, parent, teacher. If there's a issue, problem, concern with one of those individuals in those roles, then you have imbalance, and you have a detriment to the educational process.
Okay, well, that leads, I think, right into our next question, which is, what would be your top priorities and projects if you are elected?
Well, I want to, there's always a period of adjustment in any change, and change is the one certainty. And yet it's the thing that most of us are very uncomfortable with, because, you know, as we enter adulthood, we want to get into comfort zones and remain there. I'm a big Abraham. If you go to my website, welge.com, you'll see that I devoted a page to Abraham Maslow, who identified our needs. Think of a four-tiered cake. You have two lower order needs and two higher order needs. The lowest baseline need that we all have, male, female, or Martian and Venusian, as I sometimes say, is our physiological need for food, clothing, and shelter. As a matter of fact, when I was counseling parents, kids, I would, especially students, I would say, you know, all your parents are obligated by law to provide is food, clothing, and shelter, your physiological needs. If one's physiological needs are met, then you're ready to address the psychological need to feel safe and secure. If you don't feel safe and secure, even if you have your food, clothing, and shelter needs met, then you're not ready to address your higher order needs, which are belongingness needs. We're social creatures. We're mammals. We're sexual creatures. And then the highest order need is to self-actualize. And in opportunities like this, Vicki, when I get a chance to talk to thousands of potential voters,
Yep.
I feel like I'm really self-actualizing, because my experience is such, knowing that listening is more important than talking. My first priority in the schools, and I intend to be very hands-on, visiting schools frequently. I'm going to want to work closely with the guidance department, student services. Bill Goodman, the former supervisor of guidance, was my mentor at Hawthorne High School when I was finishing up in the fall of '83. I'm going to want us to have at all levels, elementary, middle, and high, a guidance counseling program that to quote Dr. Myrick, Bob Myrick, my mentor at Florida, he said, we want a comprehensive developmental guidance program. And that means having leaders, student leaders. And so my first priority would be to make sure that we have what they call a peer facilitator program at every level. That makes the sixth graders at the elementary level leaders, so that you can, you know, say, oh, you've got issues. Well, here, talk to a peer first. At the middle school level, where there's such great change between 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So 5th grade for elementary is the highest grade. At 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, you have your 8th grade leaders. And at the course of the high school, you have your upper class students, the juniors and the seniors, that are trained to facilitate disclosure about problems. Because unless you're open to addressing your issues and concerns, there's really, you know, denial is more than a river in Egypt. And so you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And the new one is, you can lead a person to knowledge, but you can't make them think. So acknowledging this, it means that we utilize students to be peer facilitators, to make it easier. That reduces stress on everybody. So peer facilitation programs, active peer facilitator programs, which are in line with student government too, because in my last really good job, I mean, where there wasn't a hostile work environment, I don't want to get into that detail too much, but back in 99, when I first began Abraham Lincoln reenacting in classrooms to bring living history into the social studies classrooms, I said, you know, I'm a Abraham. I lost my train of thought. Next
Okay.
question.
Well, let's jump into a little more specifics on some of the issues we're facing here locally. So the next question is, the Florida scorecard reports that third grade reading scores, meaning the percentage of Alachua County third graders actually reading on grade level, is at 49% and declining. What would you do to help reverse this trend?
Excellent question. And third grade is such a critical grade to get readers. And I use language. I'm a kind of a linguist in a way. And so we're going to use music. And I've got some particular books that are perfect for the second grade and the first grade level that I've used in bibliotherapy, because in my counseling work, I believe in bibliotherapy. I believe in pet therapy. I think that every positive interaction has therapeutic value. So regarding reading per se, we're going to sing from kindergarten right through 12th grade. And one of the first songs we're going to sing is "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray." At about the same time, we're going to be doing the ABC song. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. We're going to associate music with reading comprehension. The books I have in mind that I've used in the past are Go Dog Go, which whose theme is "We Can Agree to Disagree," and also Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, which the theme in that book is that it can be really bad, but it can always be worse. And as bad as today is, tomorrow, there's always tomorrow. It's only a day away. So there's going to be a lot more music. We're going to emphasize, I want to influence my other 4 board members, to at least 2 of them to align with me. So we have majority, 3 out of 5, to really emphasize music and dance, because I'm sort of anti-Platonic, Vicki. You know, Plato said that he introduced this term forms, this idea. In fact, he said that the idea of a horse is more real than the horse you can groom and ride. And that's outrageous. It's not true. I go with President John F. Kennedy, who said, you know, who had the Presidential Fitness Awards, which I want to reintroduce again. And he said, you know, healthy mind, healthy body. Yep. So that's how I'm going to address that declining literacy rate among our 5th graders.
Okay, terrific. All right, another, we're going to get into another little issue-based question, which is zoning within our school district has been a very divisive issue. What are your thoughts about it?
My thoughts on zoning, I want to take a pen on a map, place it on every school, and draw a circle. You know, use those, what they call them, you know how you put you can draw a circle around any point. Mm-hmm. There's a tool for it. I forget the name. And within that circle, I want those kids to feel safe and secure walking to school or biking to school. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some overlap, maybe, but when we extend those circles out from the elementary, middle, and high schools, we're going to get a good idea of what students need transportation and which don't. And you can't legislate morality. You can't legislate neighborhoods. But speaking of neighborhoods, I'm a big, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, Mr. Rogers guy. And so, communities in schools, I want there to be pride in every school, and if it's in a low, what they call SES area, socioeconomic status area, then I want that school to focus on cleanliness of the campus. I want to encourage recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle. Because remember the phrase regarding to historically Black colleges and universities, they said a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Well, food is a terrible thing to waste. And so being a kombucha mushroom tea drinker, so that I have good antioxidants in my gut, where your immune system is really based, is in your gut, the flora in your butt, in your gut. So we're going to encourage fruit first in the morning. We're going to get off this sugar. Give the kids sugar. Oh, give them candy to reinforce, learning. No, we're going to back off the candy. If the parents want to give their kids candy, that's great. But we're going to emphasize fruit in the morning. I want to make Johnny Appleseed a hero again in our schools. We're going to have apples for the kids. Red Delicious, Honeycrisp, which my wife prefers, Granny Smith. We're going to have apples and bananas available for the kids to eat. And that's going to be a big part of the nutrition program for our students. At lunchtime, we'll go with the pizza that's so easy to make. It's so doughy. But I don't want to give them candy. Now, as far as dessert's concerned, we might give them something, but I want to keep those high sugar foods, which is, fast food. I want to get away from that. We've got, Michelle Obama said we've got obesity issues in this country. Well, that's a big part of why kids, lose attention so quickly as well. So
Okay.
did I answer? I think I answered.
Yep. Yep. Want to keep people close to their neighborhoods. Okay. My last question for you is, and again, you touched upon this a little bit in your opening, but it'll give you a chance to talk about a little bit more, which is what has prompted you to run for a seat on the school board right now?
My background in education, especially as a guidance counselor. I've been, when there was a conflict in my final year, in fact, my final 5 years in Duval County, my issue was that I didn't feel I was respected by the administration, and my Achilles heel is a male, pride. They say female, Mark Twain said all generalizations are false, including this one. Back at that time, I'd been a vested, my pension was in effect. I'd been 13 years, and a new principal came into my school at Highlands Middle School, and I took her the Mix It Up program that the Southern Poverty Law Center puts out, which encourages kids to sit with different groups in the cafeteria during lunchtime. And also they provide a monthly newsletter called Teaching Tolerance. This administrator, who I'll not name, in her office, when I went to her as the head of student government, as the faculty representative for student government at the middle school, we had elections. I got a gavel in my trunk. Part of my campaign will be using my gavel that the kids made for me because they felt that I cared. The principal said that tolerance was her least favorite word. And what she was confusing the word acceptance with tolerance. As a counselor, you've got to tolerate people's divergent views before you can establish what's called a therapeutic working relationship with that person, student, parent, teacher. When she said that, my jaw dropped. That was the beginning of 5 years of hostile work environment at 2 different schools. So she managed politically to the art of the possible to get me moved from that school where I had good relationships to her previous school where the hostile work environment continued with another principal. And after 3 years there, I was basically booted out of the Alachua County schools. The Duval County school system. I don't want to let that happen to anybody else that's a professional in the school system. One of my mistakes, along with pride and not, trying to work this conflict out, was the fact that the union dues, again, being a counselor, I thought, well, all the teachers should have union protection and professional protections. Well, that last year, I said, I'm going to see. It's kind of an experiment. Frankly, my father was an alcoholic. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic, and alcoholism is a disease of the family. And so, from my family of origin, I've had issues with authority, especially authorities that don't respect me, because respect is a two-way street. And so that was part of the issue too. And so I want to get back into education to make changes that are positive. I'm 69 years old. I'm still a sexagenarian. I'll be a septuagenarian next March. If I make it to be an octogenarian, man, I'll feel great. And if I make it to 88, like my sainted deceased mother, then I'll just be 2 years away from being a nonagenarian. And I want President Carter, who slept in my bed here in Gainesville, Florida, and who I met twice in 2018. He's 99 now. His birthday is October 1st. Man, if he makes it to 100, to the centenarian level, I'm going to throw a big party for the whole school system. We're going to get everybody to send him a birthday card. That's one of my goals.
Okay, terrific. All right, well, we have covered a lot of topics, so now you've got one last opportunity. If there was anything we missed in our last couple minutes here, if there's anything we missed, anything else you want to add, the floor is yours.
I'm just so glad that this school board position where voters Alachua County wide can vote for me, because it's a nonpartisan position. And again, this red and blue divergence deals with a lot of really distractions and really superficial issues, because the bottom line is that we all love our children and want to do our best for our children. And it's important that we not go at each other, angrily. There are only two types of feelings, pleasant and unpleasant. Anger is a misunderstood emotion, because while most think that anger is an unpleasant emotion, it is. It's 85% unpleasant, anger is. But about 15% of anger is pleasant, in the sense that you see something wrong, or you feel that something's wrong, and it gives you what they call righteous indignation. And so we want to help angry people to understand that their anger, it comes from a place of truth in their souls. And we want people to feel heard and listened to and tolerated, as long as they don't try to hurt themselves or hurt others, because it's nonviolence that is what we want. And this idea of putting out fires, and see, there's only two things we all want in life. We all want attention and acceptance, and kids will not be ignored. And the reasons for misbehavior are defined by the acronym WRAP, W-R-A-P. So get people putting on their thinking caps. Dr. Max Park of the University of Florida said it all boils down to the P, power, self-efficacy. Everybody wants to feel like they have some influence in this world. Well, next time you do the interview, I'll give you guesses on what the W stands for, the R stands for, and the A stands for. in the word rap, which are the reasons for misbehavior.
All right. Well, that gives us all something to think about for sure. We'll have to, I think a lot of people will end up Googling at the end of our time. So,
And there's no one right answer, although I think I have the right answer, the most applicable answer. But a good friend of mine who's an EDD, a doctor of education, came up with another one that's plausible. That's why I like acronyms, like my name, Lou Andrew Welge. It doesn't just mean light at weight. I'm 6'8". I'm a Abraham Lincoln reenactor. I'm the better candidate for school board.
all right. Well, terrific. Thanks for spending time with us today. And we want to reiterate what Lou said in that at the Greater Gainesville Chamber, we are very committed to making sure everyone's voice is heard. And one of the best ways to do that is to get out and vote. So a reminder that our primary election is right around the corner. It is Tuesday, August 20th. Exercise your right, get out and vote. Thanks again for spending
Vicki,
time with us, Lou.
Vicki, when does early voting start?
You know, off the top of my head, I cannot tell you that, but it is a week or so before the actual election. So
right, which has been a big improvement in our electoral system.
Absolutely.
Big improvement.
And
Vote early.
Alachua County has one of the most available days for early voting. So everyone's got their opportunity to get out there and make sure they make that vote count.
Great. Vote for law.
Thank you. Good luck on the campaign trail. Bye now.
Thank you.